Thank you everyone for coming. My name is Tiffany Davila. I'm the Public Affairs Officer for the Arizona Department of Forestry and Fire Management. We appreciate you coming today. We know it's taking time away from you and your families. We are hosting this press conference to hope to provide more information, not only on the operations, but on what we can do to help the public. You'll be hearing today from your local mayors, your local first responders, and our operations section chief to give you an update on what we've been doing. So first, we're going to hear from the Globe Mayor.
Thank you, Tiffany, and good afternoon. I first want to start with extending my condolences to the victims that were lost in the event and to their families. I want to thank the enormous amount of response that we received from agencies immediately when that event occurred, as cars and everything else was being washed down our downtown area. I want to thank the amount of volunteers, not only locally, but statewide and beyond, that have come to our community to help to start the process of cleaning it up. I want to thank John Truitt, State Land Incident Commander Type 3 team, and bringing all the resources to be able to help with those search and rescue operations. And I definitely need to thank our police, fire, and public works, and our staff who have worked tireless hours throughout the weekend after this event occurred. This event was very devastating to all of us. We've never seen anything like it in our community. We feel the pain of our business people that have lost so much, their livelihood, their investments into their buildings that we have seen here, and it hurts us all. We feel the pain of our residents we have seen so much damage to their homes and now have to start from scratch and move forward. But I assure you that this council, our administration, this city is with you, and we will work tirelessly to make sure that we expedite those funds, either state or federally, that we need to receive in order to recover and move forward. We had, again, you know, we filed a state of emergency immediately the next day. Town of Miami did also, and then the county did one. Immediately, Governor Hobbs signed it and gave authorization to release funding. We have received support from all our legislators in the state and federally, and they are also pushing to get that funding to our people. That's what we need. We need it now. We have started the process by cleanup. The next is assessment, and then we need to get the money to start and recover and open our city, our community back up. Thank you.
Good afternoon, all. I appreciate you coming in to get us hear our updates on what's been going on, and I totally agree with Mayor Gameros on thanking everybody. My background really is engineering, industrial engineering and construction, and I've seen all kinds of events similar to this across the nation and around the world. I've never seen this kind of cooperation and interaction. Coming from Miami and to Globe, and Globe to Miami, and everything in between for the county. It's just been really good to see that many people, all of our staff, a lot of our public helpers just coming in and working with us. It's amazing. I didn't see that in Katrina, for instance, down in Louisiana. We rebuilt a home, or a community there, I should say, after Katrina hit, right on our job site, or right down from our job site. We never saw that kind of action. This is amazing to me, and I'm proud to be a part of that. If we have to have a disaster, this is the way to get it turned around and get everything back to normal, and do what we can to save our businesses, help our public and their homes, whatever destruction was there. We're here to do that, and we're ready to do it. We've gotten cooperation from all of the mines in the copper corridor here. They're amazing. They're happy to jump in and help us We had their equipment. We had contractors that are working for us. I mean, they just jump in there and all the work that we're getting done is, it's just, I mean, I love it. I love seeing the human part of the equation coming together like we're doing. So I'm ready to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, sir. County Supervisor?
Yeah, Tim Humphrey, Healy County Supervisor, District 2. My heart goes out to the families, the business owners, and the people that have had this happen to them. They say sometimes good things come from change. It's hard to see that from here, but it's a great community. You know, I mean, it's nice that the mayor of Globe, the mayor of Miami, Healy County, the mines, everybody works together here. And we've shown that as the flood started on Thursday. We all communicated on going forward, and we're still working together on putting together funding programs, not only from the state and federal, but Carl Milford may go into it a little more. We're working on a donation to bring in donations to our area, but not just kind of willy-nilly. We're trying to get it passed through Salvation Army so that it's a solid place to where people can donate. Salvation Army will take in what the community needs. There's a lot of people that want to give cash. They want to give money to help because that's the only way they can help. And through an organization like that, then they can be a pass-through to help the people that need, because we know that people need money now, not 6 months from now when the assessments are done. Although the congressman's helping us get those assessments done to go forward, the governor's helping us to get all of the red tape passed through as fast as it can. But we're working on getting that arm set up so that we can take donations to help the business people, to help the families who need to start restructuring now. And so thank you all very much for your patience. I believe most everybody knows how to get a hold of me if I can help or you have questions. Our landfill was closed for 1 day because it flooded as well. We got it back in shape. We're working with DJs and working with the mayor of Globe and Miami so that they come to our landfill and all the flood debris and damage goes in one place, so we're not interfering with our commercial people that haul garbage for a living. And so we're trying to keep that separate as well in case in the future it needs to be assessed. So when you're taking things to the landfill, be patient. If you see something that could be different or you would think needs to happen, please call, because everything is, you know, it's just been by the moment decisions. It's not that we got to plan all of this. We're just dealing with it as it comes. So if you see something that you would like to have different or change, please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Carl?
Hello, my name is Carl Melford, Healy County Emergency Manager. So I manage the Healy County Emergency Operations Center. We've got a large group of resources in together, and what we're trying to do is kind of track all of these costs, put out damage assessments, gather data that can help our communities seek reimbursement for the loss that has occurred financially, and then also to bring in whatever resources that our municipalities or our county need to get the job done. We brought quite a bit of those resources in already. We've got those resources ongoing, and we're working actively to fill any resource requests from any of the folks that have boots on the ground. We're working on bringing in more of the agencies that can help, the nonprofits that can help the individuals, not only with donations management and things of that nature, but as well as a disaster assistance center. So for the locals here that were around for the Telegraph fire, they may be familiar with the concept, but I'll explain a little further. Disaster Assistance Center will be a one-stop shop for all of those nonprofit organizations that help people out with financial or logistical needs. We're going to get that together at the fairgrounds. So essentially, you can go table to table and visit with each of these programs and see what they have available to help you out. So most of this stuff is advertised or promoted on our social media pages for Gila County and Gila County Health and Community Services. So please monitor that. We're also pushing it out to our media contacts to share. And then information about what's available can be accessed direct through our call center. The call center phone number is 928-402-8888. My office also manages the emergency alert system, Ready Gila Alerts, where we get out notifications. It rebroadcasts flash flood warnings and then any public safety messages that our public safety partners request of us. We're happy to be here to help and do everything we can. I'm also local here. This is my home. This is my backyard. So I personally promise my community that I'll do everything I can to get us back on our feet and get us back where we were before. Thank you.
Chief Robinson.
Good evening. My name's Chief Gary Robinson with the City of Globe. First of all, as has been expressed, my condolences to those who have lost loved ones in this event. Just to kind of give a little rundown of what the initial operations for us looked like. We had actually experienced a day or 2 days prior some flooding within the Claypool area. The first call for the event in downtown Globe was received at approximately 6:41 p.m. A 911 call on the south end of Broad Street, reporting an individual trapped in their home with rising water. The initial units that responded to that when they reached the crossing point, our engine made an attempt to access that location. That attempt was not successful to be able to get up to where that person was reported. That engine was directed to higher ground where they staged. We had one fire unit in that response that put out a distress call. That shortly thereafter, that distress call, that individual advised that they were safe in higher ground, and all other responding units from our other agencies that were coming in began to stage at the locations where they were at due to no access into the downtown corridor. Once those waters began to recede, we were able to establish a command post at the Globe Fire Department and begin coordinating efforts at searching, trying to locate individuals who may be in need of rescue. There were multiple rescues that were put in place by civilians as well as responders. There was also a significant hazardous materials incident ongoing due to propane leaking throughout the community. Secondarily to those rescues and stuff, our goal was to get everybody moved back to safer areas from the north end of Broad Street. I just want to take a few minutes, and I'm going to miss somebody, I'm sure, but to thank a few of the local agencies that were immediately engaged in this incident. To Tri-City Fire District, their Fire Chief Tony Granger, who assumed the initial incident command of the responding units that were coming in, to the Department of Forestry and Fire Management and their local resources that they have here that were able to answer as quickly as they could as soon as the water started to recede. To the PD, our Public Works Department, to the search and rescue teams that were here rapidly and we're able to begin assisting with those. And then to our state partners that have been here, including the DFFM, the team that has come in to help us work through and manage the amount of resources that we have operating here. To our mutual aid partners in the form of our statewide mutual aid system, to include Mesa Fire, Superstition Fire and Medical, and Florence Fire, and the U.S. Forest Service that's doing that. We continue, as many of you have seen, some of those operations continue or are ongoing. We have personnel actively engaged in that, as well as trying to cover any local incidents that occur due to the normal volume of traffic that we have here. Again, my condolences and my thanks go out to the community, to those who volunteered, and to all those who were selfless in the actions that they took to try and look after their fellow citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Walters?
Good evening. My name is Dale Walters, and I'm the Chief of Police for the City of Globe. I want to first send my condolences to the families and the flood victims, and the many Globe and Gila County community residents that lost their homes and their businesses. I drove through again today, and the devastation just continues to grow. This was a horrible disaster that will take time to heal and rebuild. It has been my experience over the last 7 years of this community has addressed great pain and loss with strength and resiliency, and as we have all witnessed since Friday, it has been on display. I want to say thank you to the many volunteers for their efforts and the commitment to our community and the love and support you have shown in the face of this devastation. As of today, there are 2 deaths have been confirmed within the city limits of Globe. Heather Johnson of Globe and David Acevedo of Claypole were both victims of the flash flood and were recovered from the wash within the city limits of Globe on 9/27/25. Both deceased were transported to the Pinal County Medical Examiner's Office in Florence and underwent examinations to determine the cause of the manner of death. The immediate cause of death was determined to be drowning, and the manner of death is determined to be accidental for both. As of this writing, we have received we have recovered 58 vehicles unrelated to the vehicles that were taken from the Courtesy Ford dealership. 40 of these registered owners have been contacted and found safe, and we are working to contact the remainder of those 58. There are still a number of vehicles, I don't have a number for you, that have not been recovered. Efforts to recover these vehicles are ongoing. We have one known missing person. We've put out on Facebook and in the public and listed them as missing. A local resident named Pete Green. I'll provide the media with the flyer that we've put out on our Facebook. Pete was known to be transient and believed to be in the creek area at the time of the flood arriving. So we don't have any further on that. We'll be asking for any input from the community. If you know where Pete's at, if you've seen Pete since Friday night, please reach out to the Globe Police Department. In addition, there is a third victim that was recovered in wheat fields. This was a county case, and I would refer the media and any questions pertaining to that to the Gila County Sheriff's Office. And the last thing I want to say before I step away is we have received information through social media and seen different videos and photographs from people that were at the event on Friday. We've asked through our social media on Facebook, it should be on the local social media for Globe Miami, to please download our Tip 411 app and upload any videos and photos that you may have or additional information that you may have. We are trying to put it together to ensure that the people that have been seen floating down the creek have been recovered. So far, every vehicle that we've seen occupied that was floating, we've been able to confirm that everybody is safe, but we don't want to miss anything. Our number one concern right now that we're looking at is the people from outside the community, because we're not getting any further details of missing people locally. But as you well know, our restaurants are very popular from Valley residents, and there's been a number of vehicles that were outside the community that we've identified, and we were using personnel and law enforcement throughout the state to try to make contact with registered owners. And the last thing I want to do is say thank you to all my law enforcement brothers and sisters throughout the state. We've received countless offers of support in a manner of different measures, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Chief?
Good afternoon. My name's Bob Arthur. I'm the Operations Section Chief for the State of Arizona's Type 3 Incident Management Team that's currently here in Globe. First of all, my condolences to the families and victims that have suffered through the flood. I will start with the update where Chief Robinson left off Friday night. So Saturday morning, as the team arrived, we had a DPS helicopter with an infrared vision capable that flew the waterways starting in the headwaters of Six-Shooter Ice House and Kellner Canyons, flew after those three drainages formed Pinal Creek, flew the Pinal Creek drainage through Globe, past the sewer treatment plant, Russell Gulch, and then where they meet on Highway 188, and then farther north into wheat fields. We flew all those with the helicopter and did not pick up any victims. We had 6 search and rescue dog teams from different counties within the state of Arizona associated with the county sheriff's offices, or sheriffs. They all came to assist. We've had the search teams and the dogs search the same drainages, the Ice House, Six-Shooter, and Kellner Canyon, and then all of Pinal Creek drainages all the way to wheat fields, and then the drainage, and I can't tell you the name of it, that runs through the town of Miami, where it starts west of Miami. We put dogs in there and personnel to search that area as well. On top of the search, we have had hand crews with chainsaws cutting the woody material that are in the creek drainages and either getting them in small enough pieces that we can get them out onto the road to be loaded in dump trucks or on flatbed trailers to get them out, so we don't have additional blockage when the next rain hits at the creek crossings. And we also have heavy equipment in the creeks that have assisted us with the bigger pieces of wood and the numerous propane tanks that are spread out between here and so far we've seen them all the way to Pringle Pump. So on top of that, I don't have anything. Yep, I guess I'm done then. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So that concludes this portion of the press conference. I am going to open it up to questions for about 15 minutes. Any questions? Go ahead.
Feel free, whoever can answer this. I'm wondering what preparations were made in advance of this event. I was up here on Thursday when we first started seeing some videos coming out of flooding between Globe and Miami. Over the next 24 hours before the big rains came, what preparations were made by the county or your local municipalities to stop this?
Who would like to take that? Carl?
So we did some testing of our emergency alert system to make sure that would rebroadcast National Weather Service's alerts was running successful. All of the alerts originated by the National Weather Service were rebroadcast by our local notification system. We also made sandbags available for the public. We had some volunteers and some staff filling sandbags and getting them out as far as they could. But unfortunately, the reality of the incident is there are no amount of sandbags in the world that could have prevented what happened here. Thank you.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and also too, I think that magnitude of water, there's no preparation that could have stopped that water. But all of our crews were out in trying to open waterways drains, culverts, and things of that nature, because some of them were plugged and we knew we had more water coming. We even brought our crews down from, Haley County crews, down from Payson, from Tonto Basin, because they didn't have the flooding, to increase our manpower to keep as many roads and drainages open as we could, knowing that we had more water coming. But there again too, once it starts raining, we have to get out of those areas because we don't want to endanger anybody. But we brought in all the manpower that we could to work together between all the entities in the local area to try to keep ahead of the storm.
Thank you, sir. If we could just, is this in relation to what he was just asking? Or do you have a different question? Okay, stand by for 1 second. Go ahead, dear.
Chief Robinson, you were the one who brought up the propane tanks. I don't know if anybody could answer this, but we've been hearing a lot of different information about whether those were indeed hazardous, whether they actually had fuel in them, how many there were. This was a huge thing that people have been asking us about all weekend. Can you clear up the information about the propane tanks for us?
Repeat the question.
Yeah, and where'd they come from?
So, if you don't mind, repeat the question for me, please.
Yeah, so we're just hearing a ton of different information about the number of propane tanks, where they came from, whether they should have been secured, and whether or not they indeed were hazardous. You mentioned the hazardous materials from them. We've heard other people say there were no fuel in them.
So to speak to the number initially, we don't know. There were a significant number of propane tanks. All of those propane tanks were determined to be older propane tanks that were stored, that generally are emptied of contents. The issue that you have there is there are vapors that remain in those tanks. It was very clear from the outset that those propane tanks were obviously off-gassing as they were moving through the community. We had a significant odor of propane, along with the potential for other utilities. When we look at propane, one of the hazards that goes with propane is it's heavier than air. So as propane migrates, it's going to migrate down to low spots, and it's going to migrate downstream, downwind. So as that's occurring, that has to be our focus. It's not like a natural gas that will rise and mitigate a little easier. Propane poses a lot more significant of a challenge. It can congregate in basements along there. It can, and along with the obvious structural issues that we had, the potential for something much more catastrophic was there.
Where did they come from?
So there is a facility, a propane storage facility, up at the end of Jess Hayes Road, between Jess Hayes and between Jess Hayes and Wallaman Road, up outside of the Pinal Creek area.
Is there any investigation into whether or not they should have been secured going on? I don't know if they can answer that, or is this just an unlucky case?
At this point, I can't answer that. We were in a different phase of the operation until we determined that. That may be a follow-up question that will have to be asked later on.
Thanks, Chief. Yes, of course.
So again, my office is responsible for calling in the additional resources. So one of the resources that we called for immediately was air quality monitoring, because propane can be detected by that. So we had crews out setting up air quality monitors and stations, especially when the tanks were being moved, and then actual individuals with air quality monitors moving around. And after the initial flooding, during the removal of the tanks, I can say that they reported the air quality was safe in the area while those tanks were being moved.
Thanks, Paul. The pink, please.
Follow up on propane tanks.
Okay.
One is, it's been widely reported across Facebook that 1,000 tanks are to the area. So my question is, who is responsible for giving us accurate accounting of those propane tanks, and when can we get that? And my second question is, it apparently is the case where all the propane tanks are being taken back to Matlock Gas and dumped on their site, which makes me wonder why would we put propane tanks back on the site next to the river that just flooded? So who's making that decision and who is tracking the propane tanks?
Okay, Chief?
So to the reports on numbers, again, we know there were a significant volume of that. Exact count, we don't have as of yet. I don't have a range. I don't. We've seen sites, just single sites that have huge volumes of those tanks, where they were washed to and immediately lodged. As to the movement and storage of those current tanks, that is a question that will have to be answered. What has to occur now is we have to get them out of the waterways. We have to get them out of the waterways. We have to get them staged somewhere, and then it will become a question of how do we fully mitigate that so that we don't run into another issue. That will be something that we will need to work with state agencies and others to coordinate.
There is current work going on in terms of picking up propane tanks.
Correct.
I've seen by Matlock and maybe others. And so the current process right now is picking up propane tanks and taking it to Matlock
To a staging area, yes.
on Matlock property.
Correct.
Sir in the back had the question. I didn't want to overlook you earlier.
This is Private Humphrey. Why hasn't the Army Corps of Engineers been at any meetings or anything to do with the creeks? Why aren't we banking these creeks up anymore? Like the old days, county would do it every 6 months, clean the creeks all the way up from the other side of the globe all the way to Wheatfield. We don't see that anymore. We don't. You got to go to the Army Corps of Engineers just to get so they can bank it. And why is that happening? Why can't we push them to let you guys get back in there and clean these creeks?
A lot of that, we did get funding and we did get permission to clean the creeks after the fires because they knew that there was going to be flooding, and we did. We hired subcontractors, most of them local, to clean out the creeks. But as far as why can't we do it often, and that's up at a higher elevation than the county supervisor. That's more state and federal that are keeping us out of the waterways. And so we do what we can, but even if we go in to do some little bit of work, we have to get with Army Corps engineers to be sure of that we're not doing anything we're not supposed to, because then we can be fined. And so it's higher up than county.
That's why I asked about the why hasn't the Army Corps of Engineers come
Yeah.
to our meeting.
And
I ran into this 4 years ago. There hasn't been, they cleaned the creek up, but there's no banking.
right.
No banking. They're taking off fences, people's land, they're going by land, they got 2 acres, they'll eat 1.5. The creek goes in there and then you lose it.
They like to let the creeks go where they want to go. And that's part of the difficulty. But like I say, that's way higher than me. And if we run out of time and anybody has questions for me, please call, and I'll be happy to get you any answers that I can if you don't have time to ask me during this.
Thank you, sir. Other questions? In the back with the hat on?
Yeah, what steps are going to be taken to make sure this doesn't happen again? Because if we're going to rebuild and the same incident's going to happen, what steps on the state and federal level and local level are going to be taken to make sure this doesn't happen again? And it's an open question to anybody.
Okay. Who'd like to take that?
This category of storm is not a nuisance storm. It's like up to 100-year storm. And I don't know that you can ever prepare for a 100-year storm. And as far as, codes and things of that nature, we don't let people build in dangerous areas. And if they do build like in close to a waterway, then they have to go through certain specs in order to be able to do that. So we have codes in place. But if we did 100-year codes, everybody would have to live in stone castles. to prevent a 100-year flood. It's just something that you can't prevent. And you can see flooding all over the country in other states as well, and you just can't prepare for 5-6 foot of water coming that wide, that fast.
Thank you. Oh, 1 second.
On that same, go ahead.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, I know that, and I can assure you that within the city, our Public Works Department has cleared our waterways through the city areas. They have, since the telegraph fire, that is a priority that we have done. But I think what Mr. Humphrey said is, even doing that, there is no way that with this amount of unexpected rain, that anything would have held that. I mean, when you're running outside of Miami or Globe under the railroad tracks, that turn is 20 feet deep. That water went above the waterway to get into North Broad on the highway. So there was nothing. We always prepare for things, and even more so since the telegraph fire, because we know the burn scar. But there's nothing that I believe that anything could have been done that would have stopped this devastating flood. It's historic. And we don't know if it's 100, is it 500? We don't know, but we will get that information to understand the amount of water that we did receive.
Thank you, sir. Ray, did you have a follow-up?
Well, I was just wondering, was this the most rain that Globe has received in 50 years or more? So that the rain was the only reason for this, or was there possibly another reason that caused the flood? Besides just the amount of rain.
So that's difficult to say because reports from the National Weather Service come from their rain gauges. And there's not a lot of rain gauges in the area. So that data may accurately reflect the position of the actual rain gauge, but to get an accurate reading of how much rain was in such an isolated area is very difficult to get. I've been in this role for 10 years. I've never seen that significant and concentrated of a rain event in such a small area. And of course, that central point of that small area was one that was not monitored by a rain gauge. So again, this was a natural disaster. We do everything that we can to help prepare the community, but similar to that of an earthquake, you cannot stop an earthquake. We can only do what we can to prepare.
Thank you, Carl. In the back, in the blue?
Yes. Do you know, did you get adequate weather warnings before the flood from the Weather Service or media or whatever sources you use for a forecast?
Carl.
There were several flash flood warnings. Our system rebroadcasted them. I don't know that, again, this is a disaster. Flash flood warnings went to the most severe level that they could, but I can't say that I expected more because these notifications were what we get. They did give us a heads up. I wish there was something better in place. I wish there was a more advanced warning, but in reality, the storm formed very quickly and the notification came out as quickly as it could push it.
Thank you, Carl. Ladies in the back in the black.
I heard that FEMA was, FEMA was here locally, and I mean, this is just hearing from somebody, I'm not sure, but my question is when the funds do become available, is it really first come, first served basis, or are funds going to be distributed to all the business owners that were affected by this flood?
So FEMA had some individuals out here to kind of get a general idea of what's going on. There are damage assessments ongoing that they need to review in order to see if this reaches that level of federal disaster declaration. It's kind of too soon to determine at this point if that is going to be an eligible expense because those damage assessments take a while. So the way that FEMA assistance works when we do get a federal declaration, I can honestly say we've never had a federal declaration in my time here, but I don't know that there's a first come, first served basis. I do know that for the businesses, I have already started the process of with SBA, which is the Small Business Association. My hope, I know the parameters for that were having 5 or more businesses affected and 12 or more homes. We met that easily. So we'll be pushing forward on getting that SBA program rolling, which will allow for funding for businesses, small businesses, to get back on their feet. As far as the individual assistance from FEMA, that's something that once we qualify for, I will personally guarantee I will bring them out here to explain it to our community.
Thank you, Carl. Just a few more questions.
SBA is loan basis, right, though, not just funding that's handing out.
Correct. SBA is loan basis for businesses.
Just a few more questions. Anyone over here? Go ahead.
Just to follow up on behalf of the business owners, there's a survey that they're supposed to be filling out. I've heard from some people, it almost feels like a slap in the face to have to prove that they need funding. What is the most direct way that they can get help as soon as possible? Is there like a list? It sounds like FEMA's going to take some time. So what is like the most likely to happen the quickest for them? And can you speak to the necessity of maybe needing to fill out a survey to help them?
So the survey was by no means a slap in the face. We have damage assessment crews going out there and going to every single one of these homes. But you have to go out there and see how far and wide this damage is. It's impossible for some of these crews to get into places, especially without interfering with public safety options. The damage survey tool was to give somebody the ability to show us that they have damage in their home so we know where to go to get to them. It was an opportunity for the community to help us to help them.
Thank you. And then the gentleman in the back in the hat. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I would like to know about addressing the creek as far as FEMA engineering is concerned. I found out a long time ago that our creek that runs right through the middle of our town, in the middle of all of our houses and all of our lives, is unengineered. Okay, which means that if you try to go get flood insurance, you're going to pay the very highest premium that you can pay. And it's unaffordable. I can tell you that because I've looked into it. The other thing, and the first blow is the water. The second blow is to try to go get your property collateralized that just got flooded, or some other piece of property got in a floodplain, and to find out the bank says it's worthless. You can't even borrow against it. We've been going down this road for years on this creek, and FEMA, and I appreciate the city of Globe, don't get me wrong. You guys have done a fantastic job in handling this. But this creek needs to get engineered so that we can buy flood insurance affordably. We cannot buy flood insurance right now because it's unaffordable. And I don't know who wants to address it, but it's open.
The county supervisor.
That's something we've been working on for a long time. A lot of the original floodplain maps were done many years ago. The insurance companies set their insurance by those flood maps. Everybody knows creeks change, and everybody knows now that we have GPS, those maps are not correct. But in order to change them, the federal government has to agree that those maps are incorrect and change them. We are working with our engineers right now with the federal government to get a better line on what floodways and floodplains are and where they are. But it's got to come from the federal government, because then every insurance company, every house could change. Some people that have never been in a floodway or plain could be, after the maps are changed, then they could be in one. And it could work completely the opposite for others. And you can imagine the can of worms that would be open, but we're trying to open that, and they are working towards it, but there you have to reach out higher than your county government in order to try to help us make those changes that need to happen.
When the flood comes and their house gets washed away, by not knowing they're not in a floodplain or not, they still don't have insurance, and they still don't get anything that's recoverable for them as far as rebuilding. It's got to be engineered.
I understand everybody's frustration. We're city and county government. We do what the state and federal government tells us to do.
I've been bringing this up for 15 years.
I know.
So you folks know it.
I know that, but other people need to know. And I talk to our state and our federal representatives all the time. But they're elected officials. You need to get enough people to support you to go higher, to get a better response. Because the definition of insanity is do the same thing and expect a different result.
That we know that we can go through, and it hasn't been done for years.
Your other representatives are people that you can contact, and so are their entities. I can get you Eli Crane's phone number, I can get you Walt Blackman's phone number, I can get your representatives' phone numbers that will help change this.
They can't afford flood insurance, they just got hit by a wall of water, now they go to the bank to try to borrow to rebuild their businesses. The bank says your business is worth nothing.
I realize that. I own a property in downtown Globe. It's not insured. Believe me, I know that. And some in the county that aren't insured. I know. And now the insurance company tells you that your insurance is going up because we're in a fire way because they burned 600,000 acres of our district. It's got to go higher, and it's got to come from a lot of people if we're going to change it.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you coming out to today's press conference.